Hello everyone, welcome back to Jake's Scary Unusual. In today's story, this is the 100 subscriber special. I hope you all enjoy. I'm not going to give any spoilers away. And if you enjoy this video fully, please leave a like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate all your support. This is for all of you that have supported me from 1 to 100 subscribers. Thank you all again, and here's the special video you have all been waiting for. Enjoy. There was a kid named Dean, and his parents always called him Dino. His father was a pastor, and his wife was a pastor's wife. She stayed at home, cooked and cleaned, and all that. They had a really humble and conservative background just when it came to their beliefs and everything. So when Dino was a kid, especially since that was his nickname, you'll see why. And he always used to love participating in potato sack races at his local elementary school. He actually went to Catholic school when he was younger, and Dino loved potato sack races. I mean, this was everything to him, and his parents really cheered him on, and his father always said, he said, he's going to be a great pastor one day. Just look how good he is at these potato sack races. He wins every one of them. And his parents actually made him wear long robes to everything he did. And everyone always wondered, hey, what is he hiding under those robes? It was just really strange. Everyone kind of thought he was like a monk or something, but some others thought he was an alien hiding some devices or some type of like machine inside that robe. No one really knew what was going on in there. They actually started nicknaming him Tripod Dino because he would always win the potato sack races so quickly. It was really weird, actually. Like, he would get ahead of the other kids so quick. For these races, he had to keep his robes on because that was his parents' rules. And the Catholic schools knew that they had to listen because these parents, it was a pastor and his pastor's wife. They weren't actually going to try and argue at that point. The parents even went into the school the first day and actually said, hey, wear these robes whether you like it or not. And they took the money, no problem, and they listened. And so as Dino got older, he was talking to his father more about what he was going to do. And, Dino really contemplated a lot of things. And he's like, I really want to be a chef. So Dino really started looking into chef books. He started cooking more with his mother, and he absolutely loved it. It was one of the passions of his. But something weird after church on Sundays at his local church where his father pastors, he would go into the back in the garage, and there'd always be a weird smell back there. And, he never questioned it, and his parishioners never did. They usually all left before his dad even went back there. So that was really weird and odd about what he did. It just didn't make much sense. So Dino's going to school the one day. Now he's in high school, and he's wearing his long robe like usual, but he trips going up the stairs, and there's kids behind him, and this robe didn't really conceal too well. And people were looking like, what is that? They weren't really sure what was popping out of the robe. But it looked like a third leg, like an actual third leg to walk with. And this one kid was just shocked, like absolutely stunned at what he was seeing. It didn't really make any sense in the normal sense. But everyone started spreading rumors around school about him having a third leg. They started calling him Tripod Dino because people assumed that he had a third leg. But no one actually knew if he did, all because of a rumor and because he tripped upstairs and because he had the robes. Everyone just thought it was a rumor, it was a joke. But this one kid knew and saw the third leg. And this is where things get really weird, because he actually went to the local church and talked to his father about it. And he actually went and talked to the parents and said, hey, it may have looked like a third leg, but I can assure you my son's normal, and it was just something he must have seen, because there is no third leg. My son doesn't have a third leg. That wouldn't make any sense. So, months go by, and this kid that saw his third leg and went to that church goes missing. And no one actually knows where this kid went. You know, he's about 16 at the time, same age as Tripod Dino. And no one can make sense of it. And, you know, there's that weird smell again in the back of that garage behind the church. When Dino started learning culinary on Sundays and the other days of the week, he had no time to go to church. So he stopped going. But this one week he did, when he heard his friend of the church gone missing that actually went to this church. You know, after church, he went to talk to his dad, and he smelled that again in the back of the church. So he goes to the back of the church, and he opens this door, and he sees his dad in there cooking something. And he's like, hey, what's that? And he looks at his son, and he says, hey, you know, I never really told you this and really didn't hint at it, but we do incinerations back here. We do incinerations for our church members of family members they want. You know, I never really told you it, but yeah, this is something we actually do here. And Dino's just really surprised at the fact that his father does that. You know, he was like, you know, why did he never mention it? It was just really weird that he had that really odd vibe of everything. You know, they lived a very normal life, but his father was always gone a few hours on Sunday. And, you know, it was weird, too, that Dino started realizing that it seems like people started going missing a certain time of year, you know, or if something happens that's strange to his dad, you know, these people will go missing, and it didn't really click to him. Dino just kind of shrugs it off and moves on from it like, nothing really happened, you know. I'm sure it's normal. I mean, you know, but it's weird because Dino started putting some pieces together with his dad, and it was really strange, the whole thing. So Dino starts his first job. You know, he actually works for a chef. You know, everyone in the culinary art school or in his area always called this guy the midget chef, Joey Midget Chef. And, you know, he always used to get mad, especially when the newcomers would come in and hear of these names that Joey was called. And he always used to get so pissed off at the newcomers. And, you know, but there's the difference. Joey didn't get that way with Dino, because Dino was actually nice and polite with him and didn't go in with the jokes. So actually Joey, the midget chef, actually took a liking to Dino a lot, and they actually got along really well. You know, it's something that doesn't usually happen with him, but because of just how nice and kind he was, Joey actually started showing him a lot of things he wasn't showing the other culinary students. So he was actually doing a lot better. You know, he was kind of like mentoring Dino. And it was actually a really interesting experience for him because he actually never really felt this before. And, you know, to get back to his father, he actually supported him really well in this. And it was just a really spectacular thing. So, as Dino's learning and stuff, and, you know, the chef is just like, hey, you know, we have chef robes and stuff like that. You know, we could change you. You don't have to wear that here now. And he kind of just looks at him and like, you know what, you're right, but I don't know what my dad would feel about it. I don't know how he'd really feel. And so actually Joey, the midget chef, actually goes and talks to him and says, hey, you know, we'd like to get him in some chef gear. He's doing really well, and I can actually see him working for me at this restaurant once he's done with his apprenticeship. And his dad's just ecstatic, but he says, hey, these robes have to stay on him, you know. This is him. This is who he is. And the chef goes, I understand. We can work with it too, and that could kind of become his style. That could be him as a chef. And his dad's just in awe, and he's like, really? Is he that good? And he's like, yeah. The past 6-7 months he's been here, he's been a phenomenal cook. You know, no one has actually taken up like him. And then Dino's just thinking to himself, and he's also kind of feeling bad because Joey's the only one that actually taken a liking to Dino quite a bit. And it was just a whole nother level, a whole difference there compared to what he's used to having. So, you know, he's continuing going on his way. And, you know, someone comes in, and here he is, Dino, a year later. He's actually a chef at this point after a year of apprenticeship. And he's come out in his robes. And everyone's kind of staring at him because he looks so different in this black garment. You know, really strange. Like, it's a really weird black, too. It's not like a normal black you'd see. It's like really dark black. It's like kind of shadowy black where it doesn't like reflect. It's really strange. There's something really odd about this whole attire he had on. And he sees a kid from high school he went with, and he knew he used to bully him a lot. Dino used to get bullied by this guy. And this kid's looking at him. He's around 19 at the time with Dino. And he says, "Hey, Tripod Dino, how you doing?" And Dino just gets pretty blank in the face, but he kind of sucks it up and deals with it. He's like, "Hey, what's going on? How are you, Roger?" And Roger's like, "Great. It's nice to see you. You're actually doing really well for yourself. I'm proud of you. And I kind of wish I knew you a little more in high school. And, sorry about the names, but I just love that name. It was so funny." And Tripod Dino's just like, "Yeah, it's okay. No big deal. I appreciate you being so honest with me." And, they actually had a good little conversation there. As Tripod Dino goes back in the kitchen, his dad actually comes in and he talks to the one kid, Roger, and he actually takes him outside for a minute. And Dean's looking out over that little shelf where they look out into the restaurant from the back room. And he takes him out front and he's just kind of weirded out. Why would my dad take him outside? It doesn't make much sense. He just got really weird vibes how his dad was acting. But so Tripod Dino's back cooking again, with Joey the midget chef, and they're having a really good time. But over time, over the next year or so, people started getting really weird and nervous around this guy because he wore this robe, but a lot of other people were like, "Hey, this is who he is, it's a staple." And the rumors again of the third leg started coming back up, and it just didn't make much sense. Everything was so weird, everything was so different in this restaurant. It felt alien in a sense. So, Tripod Dino's going home the one day, and as his dad pulls up the same time, actually, they both have cars, and he asks his dad, he's like, "Hey, what happened to Roger the other day in the restaurant? I never seen him come back." And his dad's like, "Oh, I just had to talk to him about something. I knew he used to bully you, so I just wanted to have a conversation with him, explaining to him, hey, this is where my son is now, don't mess this up for him." And Dino's kind of blown away. He's like, "Dad, I'm not worried about it. I can take care of myself at this point." And, it was really weird because his dad knew Dino was also shorter, kind of like Joey the midget chef. And, he didn't want to start having him call him names, the other people in the restaurant. So he was defending his son really well. And, his dad was kind of thrown back by the fact that his son's like, "Hey, I can take care of myself." And his dad really realized at that point, he's right. I don't have to protect him like that anymore. And so months go by and people aren't going missing anymore. It's really weird. It's like his dad looks like he's potentially putting these people in a furnace and taking care of them, protect his son from any backlash of any nature. And this is where it gets really strange. Dino turns 20, and he's in the backyard at his house with his parents after a long shift, and his dad says, "Come here, I have to show you something." And they go back to the garage, and actually Joey, the midget chef's over, and he opens the garage, and he's like, "Son, there's something I have to tell you. Remember how I told you as a little kid that their leg was normal, but never to mention it, always deny it to people?" And he's like, "Yeah. I find nothing wrong with it. What's the big deal?" And he says, "I have to show you something." So he presses this button, and this whole room turns into a teleporter pad. It was really strange because it was so quiet. And actually, Joey was in there too, and Joey just looks at Dean and gives him this smirk. And he's like, "Do you know something I don't?" And he just laughs and does this little chuckle. And they immediately teleport, but before they do that, his dad's like, "Hold on to me, you're gonna want to see this." And it's instantly flashed. You're taken to another planet, and he's like, "I had to wait for you to be at this age so you can actually handle something like this that's actually going on here." And Dino's just like, "What do you mean?" And he looks in front, there's this huge galactic forest in front of him, and he's just blown away at what he's seeing. There's different plant life and all this unique stuff, and it just doesn't make much sense. There's so much going on in this planet, and he's just blown away. I mean, he's getting a headache just looking at this. And it's weird because the oxygen he can breathe, this weird mixture that they have. But their voices were more high pitched. And, Joey starts talking behind Dino, and Dino just looks at him. He's like, why do you sound like that? And then he talks and realizes, oh my gosh, I sound very similar. It was actually funny because they're both kind of the same height as well. There's a lot of unique things. And so he's like, okay, I've shown you enough. It's time to take you back home. But here's the backstory. So as they're teleporting back, and then they come back, his dad says to him, I said, this is where you were actually born. We brought you to Earth to give you more opportunity because our planet didn't have much. Just lots of different games and stuff. And also potato sack races, which I was really good at. And he's just really weirded out. He's like, what? And he just had to say at this point because his dad ripped a Band-Aid off of something he's been wanting to know for a long time about the third leg. He's just like, okay, what's the deal with the kids going missing? And his dad just looks down and he says, I had to protect you. I couldn't let people actually realize you were an alien from another planet. And Dino's like, so I am an alien. So you didn't just take me there. I wasn't born here. This was, yeah. And his dad's like, yes, you are an alien. You are from another planet. I can't tell you the name of it yet, but there's a lot that you are going to learn over the next couple years because you're going to be replacing me. I'm not just a pastor of this church. I'm a pastor of another race of people, and we have to protect ourselves on this planet. There's churches of us all around this planet, and that is what you have to realize. And he's just kind of blown away. Dino's like, what is going on? And Joey says, yeah, I'm a part of it too. I have another name on these other planets, only a few people know of. And he's just like, wow, this is incredible. What am I getting myself into? He's thinking in his head. He's just like, thank you, Dad. I appreciate you being so honest with me. This is a whole nother realm of chaos in my eyes. And his dad's like, son, this is who we are. This is who you're going to learn to be. And he's just taken aback again and again. And so they go inside after they show him that. And, they start eating dinner. And it's just an amazing thing that, he's just kind of blown back, man, it's another realm of possibilities at this point because Dino now realizes he has a lot more for his life to come. Thank you all for watching this 100 subscriber special, and a special thanks to Comrade Willie, aka Bill, from the Northern Lights that actually created them. For the idea of this video, this was a community driven video, and it was really important that for the 100 subscribers that I do that. And again, thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this special 100 subscriber special, please leave a like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate all your support. And don't forget, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Spotify. And all the links to that are in the description below. If you'd like to support me in any way, you can buy me a coffee for only $2-3. If not, it's perfectly fine. And again, I appreciate your support. Please share, like, and subscribe. Thank you, and have a great night, great day. Bye for now.